What's happening, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of the Indy Dots podcast. That was me hitting my hand, not anything else, before you get any dirty ideas. Hope everyone's doing good. Karan, I only saw you for this weekend just gone, so I'm only talking to you for what? The fourth day in a row now? It's a bit much, you know, but...
Madness. You're blessed. Living a blessed life, aren't you?
Oh, here we go. I'm living a blessed life. You're living a blessed life. Yeah, same thing. Same thing. I noticed you're wearing a blue t-shirt that's new. I've never seen you wear that before.
It is actually very old. It's,
No,
you can see I got a little jibby here, guys. Word for today, jibby meaning pocket. It's actually jib. Jib means pocket. Jibby just add a bit of twang to it.
Sounds like jalebi, but okay.
Jalebi, very high sugary dessert, guys. You'd find at most
You heard that
weddings.
song?
Gurdwara.
Jalebi, baby.
Jalebi, yeah. Jalebi, bhai.
No,
Jalebi. Oh, okay.
Jalebi.
Oh.
What you want about, bro?
That's another song. Look it up. Jalebi, bhai.
No, man, I'm on about the one with Jason
Jalebi,
Derulo
Oh, this is a Bollywood song I'm telling you about.
and Tesha. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, jalebi. Not that. Jibby. Pocket. So, next t-shirt. I get, sometimes, I go through this phase where I discover t-shirts that I haven't worn in ages. And I'm like, I need to get some good use of that, frugal and all that. So,
Yeah.
I need to wear them. And, yeah, I put this on pre-yoga. So, I had yoga today. Just put it on. And it's nice now, going to the gym, filling these things out. So, it's... So good. That's what I was doing at the start of the show, guys. If you're on YouTube, you've seen
Yeah, he was posing.
flexing a bit.
All the fans. Yeah.
All the fans, right? And if you want to follow me, I'll be setting up a OnlyFans page very
Yes,
soon.
you will. Yes, you
I will.
I'm
right?
not. You will.
Indy will feature on it sometimes.
I will never feature on it. I'll just be the
You
guy
will.
behind the camera. I'm fine with that. Like I
I'm going to be
always
sharing.
am, the one behind the camera.
Okay. Apart from this, when you're on camera.
Yeah, apart from this, but I'm okay with this. Wait until we do this in person one day. It'll be well weird.
Yeah, looking at each other.
Into each other's eyes. You'll love it.
What are you
Right,
saying?
I got the topics for this week, man.
Okay.
So it's gonna be lit.
Hit me.
So, right, have you heard about the young bankers that were told to suck it up?
Young bankers
They're
told to suck it up.
That's my headline. It's not the real
That's your
headline.
headline.
The
Of
real
course, I
headline
like
is the gist is.
Guys,
Go on.
he is a marketer, man. He's a clickbait king.
So
on the weekend,
on the
tell
weekend
people
just gone, right?
what were you doing?
I kept on clickbaiting Karan with inflammatory shit. So,
I was like, what?
So I would say something really stupid that's like
Really
remotely
dirty.
true, but
You
I've
say
missed out a
really
word.
dirty. That's what you do.
And then I make it sound like an innuendo, and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, I meant this." And then you're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "But now I've got your attention. Listen to what I'm saying." Right, and I kept doing that. I can't think of an example. I just kept on doing it. Do you want to?
Genius. Okay, he is. Guys, if you are a business, okay,
Do
you
not
know
get
that
in
you
contact with me. I am not.
No, you do. Listen, if you need, after wedding, get in contact after wedding. But if you need to attract leads, right, leads who then will convert into clients, then you need great copy. Copy is what we call the text people read for ads. This is your guy, man.
I'm a copywriter. Maybe.
Well, if you don't, people that can, but he'll design your ads, you can run your ads, and you can write copy. And I've seen it in action, man. He had my attention. It's very hard to get my attention. In the context,
we were
context
together the whole
of,
weekend. How is that hard to get your attention?
But I mean, in the context, I know you and hang around a lot with you, so therefore I'm quite I don't listen to most of the things you say. So when
Really?
you,
I thought you listen to everything I say.
so when you say something good and I listen, I'm like, oh, okay, he's got my attention. So,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that honesty. So going back to the story.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, story.
So, story gist is former head of the London Stock Exchange told young bankers to stop complaining about their long working hours and find another job if they don't like it. He basically said, hire young poor kids who put themselves through college instead of entitled graduates that emerge from college.
So let's begin. Hire.
So hire kids that have put themselves through college, that are hardworking and from a lower class background, and stop hiring these entitled grads that piss and moan.
Okay. So that was the headline.
That's basically the headline, and I just thought it was. I think part of it's right, to be fair, because I worked in banking, right? I know that they do stupid ass hours. Okay.
Give people a sense of what that means.
So stupid hours is doing, I don't know, 8 till 10 every day. That's standard.
For how long?
Expected for 5 days a week minimum. Sometimes you work on weekends.
For how many weeks?
For pretty much all the weeks in the year.
Okay, but why that clearly, if I'm looking at you not as a doctor, as a human being, that's not sustainable. That's
Oh
going to
no,
lead
it's
to
not
burnout.
sustainable. But you know
So
that
then
that's
why
the
is it
industry you're
why is
going
it
into.
acceptable? Yeah, but why has the industry become such that that's expected?
Because that's how it is. If you don't like the industry, leave. Honestly, and that's what it's getting to. I know banking that well. It chews you up and spits you out. So it's not great for your own social life. Essentially, you're going into the industry knowing that it's going to take all of your time, energy, social life.
Right.
Everything's gone. It's non-existent. And it's no surprise that all of these guys are now complaining about it. But it's been set up by those above you that have done the same thing. So naturally, they're going to say, well, I did it. Why can't you do it?
Oh man, we get the same thing in medicine, right? We get consultants who are like, look, when I was a junior doctor,
Yeah.
there was one of me. I covered the whole hospital. I worked 365 days a year. I didn't see my wife in
I
3 years.
carried a nurse on my back.
Right,
I
they
did
come out with all
everything.
this
I did
stuff,
squats
right?
in between sessions.
Right, yeah, right. But the problem is they carry this as some sort of badge of honor.
Of course
I
they
went
do.
through the shit, so you need to go through the shit. Which is like, well, how can you want to and
It's like the
improve
layer cake,
system?
isn't it, Karan?
Look, life, guys. If you listen to this right now, go and watch Layer Cake. Right, the last
film with,
scene.
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig and the other guy, Gandalf. The Michael Gamble. Michael Gamble plays.
Okay.
There's a guy in there. I think he plays Mr. Temple. Watch the film, obviously, but the last 5 minutes, the speech he makes is the explanation of life, right? I'm not going to put it on the podcast. I want you to go and watch it and drop it in the comments. But come back to that point. It's badge of honor. I went through this shit, so you should therefore go through this shit. Is like, listen, work hard, work smarter rather than harder. We have things in play now that make things a lot easier. For example, in our hospital, doctors communicate via WhatsApp. They didn't have that, but now it means that we can leverage. Guys, I need this form. Guys, what do you do with this type of patient? Guys, I need to contact this type of person. Bang, bang, bang. Put the message out. I've got 100 people in a WhatsApp group. Response. If we kept it old school, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we shouldn't do that. We should just use books and not use Google. It's just silly, man. So in your industry, when this is a question for you, when you got in, were you aware of this working pattern when you went into
I
that?
was, but I wasn't front office. So there's three sides to banking. There's front office,
Go.
middle office, back office. Front
Explain
office
those.
is where you're meeting clients. Middle office is where you work closely with front office and you might potentially meet clients. And back office is where you just do all the dirty work, like data processing, spreadsheets, reconciliations, all of that stuff.
And you were...
So I worked in middle and back office. So
Right.
I saw the guys in front office. I saw the email timestamps that came through of them working all times of day and night. So I saw it.
front guys.
Yeah, the front office guys were. So I was like, I know that that's the deal you make when you go into that world, and it's
And
expected
all
of you.
three of those offices are working crazy hours.
No, it's just front office that work the crazy hours. Now the guy from Goldman
I
Sachs
see,
is
I
saying
see.
young investment bankers. So I wasn't an investment banker. I was a back office analyst or middle office
Right.
analyst. So
Right.
I was sort of like I had normal-ish hours. I'd still work till like 6:30, 7, but that's nothing compared to the guys in front office. It pales in comparison.
And are you... Okay, here's my next question then. Is there remuneration for that? Are you
No.
ballers? You're not
No.
ballers?
Middle office
So-
and back office aren't. No, it's
No, I'm talking about front end working till 10 p.m. When you come out, what are you earning?
So
Ballpark.
I'm going to come to that now.
Oh,
So
right, okay,
this
yeah,
leads
go
on to the next part of the story. Now, let me just finish this bit, which is
Go on.
it's silly to complain about this if you're a young investment banker because you know the expectation of the job when you go into it. It would be like a doctor going in and moaning like, "Oh, I've got to see patients every day." It's essentially the same equivalent because
Okay.
that you're going into it knowing that that's what it is. It's not sold to you like it's some dream and it's a pyramid scheme or any of that. It's simply this is what it is. You know what everything you see in the films is pretty much true.
Vima.
That's it. Done.
Vima.
Yeah, throw people against the wall and Wolf of Wall Street. That probably happens, but I'm saying the level of like commitment, work, drugs, etc. It happens. It's not fake. It's real. So if you make a deal with someone and you go into that situation, you know what to expect. Now, this year, Goldman Sachs, they're the biggest investment bank. They're increasing their pay for first-year investment banking analysts from
Just
86k. Go on.
Yeah, pause there. You know when you say, again, just for the for the listeners, when you say investment banker
Yeah.
or Goldman Sachs investment bank, what does that actually mean? What are they doing with capital?
So
If
investment
I've got a
banking
lot of money,
means-
I give you money. What do you do with it?
So investment banking is quite broad, I guess, because you can work in an investment bank but not be an investment banker. So you can be an account manager in an investment bank, which means you're
But
dealing with
right.
clients.
What's an
But
investment
you're not
banker do?
Investment banker is basically a person who takes your money and invests it into certain different stock shares, assets, and stuff.
On your behalf, and then you get
on your behalf, and they take a cut, basically. Yeah.
Right. So Goldman Sachs, for example, are just basically
they're the biggest
conglomerate of they've got so much capital from lots of different resources, and they basically trade that on everyone's behalf.
Yeah, and they invest it into different areas. Like they'll invest it into tech, they'll invest it into back office, they'll invest it into
crypto.
Crypto. Yeah,
Crypto?
You know what? They probably do, mate. They probably do.
Harnik, man. Speak to Harnik, man. He's saying that these. I think he works in a similar.
Do you want to tell
industry.
people who Harnik is?
So Harnik is one of our friends, guys. He's been on the podcast with Harpal, the Bhangra episode, and he works in London, but is often in Chicago and other places like Zurich, so banking capitals of the world. And I think last time I saw him, he was telling me about his firm, who have quite a significant arm in crypto.
Yeah.
Fine. So coming back to that. So you're about to tell me. So the entry, and this is a graduate entry job.
Yeah. So Goldman Sachs this year are increasing their pay for first year investment banking analysts from $86K, so $86,000 to $110,000.
No, so you're a 21-year-old coming out, yeah?
21 years old.
And you're making 100K.
110K.
It's in dollars. So pounds, that would be what?
So let me just do a quick conversion.
Do the
USD to GBP. Yeah. 110. That's 80K.
80K is 21 year
You
old.
want an 80K job as a 21-year-old? Shut the fuck up. Stop complaining. That's it.
Do you know how much?
You
can't complain. Do you know what doctors make? First year doctor, 23 years old.
Less than 30.
Yeah. Good man. Yeah, it's about 24, 26, something like that. So
now you understand my point of view is saying stop fucking complaining. Because
so your point is actually you're being you know what to expect. You're making this deal with the devil, right?
Yeah.
But you're exchanging
exactly.
All right, you're exchanging all of your time for money.
Yeah.
That's it. Which is, I've talked about this before in the podcast that, a job. What is a job? A job is the exchange of time for money. Mm-hmm. Investing is when you learn how to not exchange your time for money.
Yeah.
Right? So when the money's rolling in, you're actively having to do something with your time. But okay, so let's just say this. So you said 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. What's that in hours? It's 10 hours a day, yeah?
So I'll come to the hours breakdown in a sec, yeah?
All right. Okay.
So what's happened is Goldman Sachs has said they're going to boost that up. That's without bonuses, FYI. So sometimes bonuses can go as high as 50K a year, depending on the performance of how well the bank's done.
So we could be well in excess of 100K.
So you could be doing very, very well, right?
But no
bonuses aren't as big as they used to be, but that's an arbitrary figure that I've just pulled out for argument's sake.
Okay.
I don't actually know how much they all clear, but it's all weird. So, fine. After the second year, your basic pay for the same level of analyst, if you make it to the second year, you get paid $125K. So $125,000 a year.
Second, 22 years old.
Yeah, 22 years old. That much.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, so you're doing a lot. Now that's a lot to be making as soon as you get out of college or uni. The average for students coming out of college is about $44,000 a year in America. So they're going to be making nearly triple what others make for this much amount of work. I don't know. I mean, it levels out. It's not like you're doing slave labor. It's not.
Yeah.
I get that you want more of a balance. But what they're essentially saying is we work 95 hours a week. They said
90, how many?
95 hours a week.
Bloody hell.
Right, and now they're saying, well, let's cut that back to 80 and call it there. So I did some quick maths. I've got the breaks here. So if you work 95 hours a week, that's 19 hours a day for weekdays, or 13 and a half hours a day every day, including weekends. So the bankers want it capped to 80 hours a week, which is reasonable, I guess. That's 16 hours a day normally on normal days. And if you go to the weekend, I think it's a bit less. No, it is a bit less. Let me just do a quick calculation. 80 divided by 7. Yeah, that's 11 and a half hours. Depends on how you want to slice it.
That's... Well, today or yesterday, I think I was looking at my timesheet, right? So I'm contracting at the moment. I submitted my timesheet for last week. Bearing in mind, last week I had a 3-day working week because I was on holiday with you from Friday, and Monday I have off because I'm doing business admin stuff.
Yeah.
3-day week, 26 hours, total week. That's all I worked last week.
See?
Yeah, like, so when I hear those numbers, the scary ass numbers, I'm like, nope. I mean, normally I do 4 hours, 4 hours a week.
It doesn't.
4
It doesn't appeal to me.
days a
Basically,
week.
it doesn't appeal to
Oh
me either. No,
man, like,
no.
that's,
Why would
yeah,
you waste the prime of your lifetime, your 20s, sitting in a fucking office?
Yeah, look, unless you have some sort of game plan, which is like, okay, amass wealth, right? Amass wealth until age 26, so 5 years be in, make $500,000 or close to $1 million or something, and then start investing it, and then basically retire. Fine, if you've got a game plan, fine, but unless you do have that, you're gonna burn out, man. Like, there is no, and like I think you said earlier, something about drinking, drugs. So these habits probably form as a way to cope.
Bro, all those things. Bankers
right?
go on binges on Fridays. I mean, they finish work on a Friday for argument's sake. No, not even for argument's sake. They do. They finish work at 5 on a Friday. So if you ever go into like a heavy investment banking area, they're all getting lashed out of their face. Right. And that continues until the next morning. I'm talking like 5, 6 a.m. And within that time, you do drugs, you go to strip clubs, you go to everything, and you go wild. And then you're expected to work maybe the Sunday to make up for it. That's normal. That's normal culture in banking.
So there's a law. Newton, the physicist, had 3 laws, yeah?
Yeah.
His 3rd law. Every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction. Mm-hmm. There is no way you can expend so much energy in a week, right, without not going crazy and then doing all this other stuff to balance out. So I get it, man. Like, you've got to do something, and if your window is like this much to get all of it in, then bang, you're just gonna bloody think you're in Vegas like every Friday, man.
Honestly,
yeah, that's wow. Okay, and when you said like, so I presume there wasn't like any protests or anything. It was just, where was this murmuring coming from? A few people?
So
like a lot of people?
This came out earlier in the year when what was it? Goldman Sachs were basically saying they wanted people to come back into the office. Do you remember?
Yes.
And they were saying those workers. What were they saying? The low-level investment bankers were saying, my work-life balance is fucked ever since I've been at home. It's worse because we're even more available than ever. People just like we are at home, just carry on working.
Yeah.
24/7. So I respect that. Yeah, maybe there does have to be some kind of limit in there, but either way, deal with the devil. They can change the rules when they want. You got to keep dancing.
Which is what, walk away, yeah.
So now all of them are saying, we'll just walk away. And I'm thinking, you can walk away and they'll get some other dipshit that will come in and do it for you. What's the difference?
The difference is they're not doing it, are they? So they don't really care about the new people coming in.
Yeah, but so with the amount of money offered, that vacancy will always be filled. It's never going to be empty. If you're the biggest investment bank in the world, you're always going to have people waiting, queuing up in droves to come and take that job.
Because you have to remember, if somebody hasn't come from comfort and wealth, right?
Yeah.
Then they're going to take it up. But again, I understand his point kind of more. But if you're somebody from a bit of privilege, like, I don't need this. I don't need this, right?
Yeah.
I'll be happy I'll make less but live more. Fine. But if you don't have the option, then you're going to do it. And maybe it's for you. Maybe you become ruthless, and maybe you don't have a normal life, let's say, and maybe you become the CEO because you're like that. There are certain people who are that way inclined.
Yeah,
so
essentially.
I have certain friends who much older than us, Indy, and from a business point of view, they're very astute. But then I look at other aspects of it. I'm like, is it because you have so much time because you don't have a partner, because you don't have any kids, you don't have any other responsibility, that all of your time is going to this one pursuit, which is okay, but I'm not prepared to siphon off everything else in the singular pursuit of something.
Of one thing as well. Like if that company goes under, like Lehman Brothers, then what?
Ooh,
I'm not saying it ever will go down like Lehman Brothers did, but I'm sure all those investment bankers who used to work there were thinking the same, which is, this will never go under, it's fine, we'll just keep working. They put all their life into it, and then the next day they have nothing.
Like, there's a film about this. A couple of podcasts ago, I told you my friend who regularly listens to Raghav. I was on a call with him the other day.
What, The Big Short?
No, it's like that. It's called Margin Call. It's Kevin Spacey.
Okay. Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but maybe you should watch it as well. It's about Lehman Brothers and what happened. That'd be good to watch. What was the thing I was going to say to you? What were you just talking about?
First year grad, someone stepping up, some dipshit's going to take it.
No, that was it.
Need it.
So in the period where I wasn't working as a doctor and I had this other job, right? It was for the Department of Works and Pensions, DWP, which is obviously from central governments, they deal with people who have disabilities and the payments for that, right?
Yeah.
They then have subcontracted to another company who I used to work for, a company that I used to work for that actually did these assessments. Anyway, I left the job because it was a terrible job. And just recently, I kind of I don't know why, but I just googled the stuff about them, and there were so many doctors coming out speaking out about how inhumane this company was.
Yeah.
Right. And again, see, when I applied to it, because at that point I wanted to change, I didn't really want to do medicine, and I went on Indeed, as you do. Job. It was something like 7.5 hours a day, 5 days a week, weekends and nights, no long days. So very different to what you do as doctor.
Yeah.
78k. I was like, okay, that's fine. Because I can do my other stuff. My plan was to do this, right, and just therefore have the rest of my time to work on my business.
Yeah.
But it kind of just took over my whole life. And it was like really silly things.
Nothing's ever as advertised as what you think it is. When it's offering that much money, it's too good to be true, man.
Right, exactly. So you get into it and you do it, and you start seeing these signs, be like, it's okay, it's new, isn't it? It's new, so it'll get better. That's the premise.
Yeah, bro.
And
everyone falls for it because you're thinking, I got probation to pass. I don't want to lose my job.
right,
And you just look through those rose tints as hard as you can.
yeah. And we did that. And look, and the thing is, when you come through, especially as a doctor, you're like, mate, I've been through some tough shit, man. I'm top 1% in the country. I can do this. I can do this. That's the mindset you have, right? And like basically, when you see somebody and you do what you call a disability analyst or a functional assessor. That was the name of your title, right? And you assess somebody to see what level of disability they should be on, and therefore the amount of payment. The money side wasn't what we were doing. We were looking from the medical point of view, like basically, are you chatting shit or is this real? Basically, right? And then you produce a report, and the report had to be done like really to the letter. And each report is audited. 100% of your work is audited, and you have basically this grading system.
Wow.
And it's like ABC, right? And you have to get a certain number of grades and da 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 da. And
sounds like school.
Mate, put it this way: when I decided to resign, of the original 8 doctors who trained together in that kind of batch, 6 of us left on the same day. 6 out of it. Same day. This was the week before. I think it was the week before No, it was the day before we watched that play together, you and me.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. That was like March last year. Very early March last year. Yep.
So 6 of us walked out the same day. And it kind of, because when we were there, we weren't talking to each other about our experience. But we realized afterwards that we were all feeling kind of this inadequacy, right? We were like, we're not good at this, whatever. And then we realized afterwards that it's just a horrible work environment where the management just does not give a shit about anything apart from numbers. You need to see this many number of people. This needs to be like this. No respect. Nothing about creativity, right? It's not like, even if you get the right answer, it's not about getting the right answer. You have to get the right answer, and it has to be like this, and this every single time. You have to see this many number of people.
Yeah.
When you're from a healthcare background and you want to help people, it's not even about helping people.
There's psychologists that I know that are doing stuff like that, where they have to see a set number of patients every hour in the day.
Yeah.
Well, not even every hour, just a number of patients in a day, and you're expected to be pedal to the metal all day. And it's like, when do you get a chance to break and do your patient assessments and do your notes? Like, you're expected to do it in your spare time. So it's silly. And I don't like how a lot of companies do that. They sort of do that fake, this is what it is. It's great, work-life balance. We're really big on mental health. You come in, you're like, you fucking lied to me. Right?
Absolutely, man. And that's funny what you said earlier, which was about, I remember in the mandatory training, there's a module on mental resilience.
Oh, bollocks, here we go, yeah.
Right? So I was like, and look, I'm a mindset coach, right? So I was like, yeah, this is some good stuff, right? But you're right, it's like, these are the company's values, this is what they say. And then you come and do it, and it's like, mate, you just value like money, capital. And on the exit interview, the manager was like, 50% of doctors don't make it 3 months. They don't advertise that in front of
them. Well, now you fucking know why.
Yeah, and I was like, no shit, man. So,
idiots, man.
You toxic work environment.
Lucky. It's a toxic work environment, and I think, I'm not saying the Goldman Sachs is toxic. They're clearly not, because they make a killing, right? How they do it is up to them. And I think if one thing that everyone have learned is that it shows that they're not exactly high on mental health stuff anyway, because they wanted everyone back in the office, like I said, like ASAP, as soon as stuff was opening up. So they wanted people back in the office the 14th of July, and they wanted the UK workers back the 21st of July. They wanted them all in the office fully. There is no working at home ever again.
For Goldman Sachs.
For Goldman Sachs. So it kind of shows that that's the kind of company style that they have. They're very old school. They don't want to change things. Fine. So
They want control, man, because surely what's going forward is going to be that yes, there'll be office time, but a lot of work can be done at home. We've seen that now.
I mean, maybe that's going to work out better for them, because look at those guys that were saying we're working too much at home. Well, now you have the capacity to work at home. You can just you can finish the work at home if you want. Just go home and do it. Or if you're at home, just fire up your laptop. I need to get you to do something at like 10:30 at night. See?
Yeah, too much. There's no control.
That's what it is, man. That's what it is. That's banking in a nutshell.
Well, that's the proverbial of rat race or hamster in the wheel. That's actually what it looks like.
Yep, that's exactly what it looks like. Or that guy in that picture where he's got that stick in front of him. Sorry, he's got the dollar bill in front of him. He's got the stick hanging over his back. He's walking towards it the whole time, and then he's going off a cliff without realising it. Or he's going into his grave without realising it. So yeah, it's mad, absolutely mad.
Pretty apt point there, yeah.
Final point there, which is then they're not going to be listened to. I can tell you now. If you're so far beneath those who are frankly at the top of the hierarchy, they're not going to give a shit. It's fine. They'll just fill you with someone else.
Because there will be someone else, yeah. It's same for doctors, man.
Yep.
We have mental health problems. You're a commodity. And somebody explained to me, there's actually another senior doctor, he said, look, in a business, let's think about medicine as a business, right? Who are the clients in medicine? Who are the leads?
Patients.
Yeah. Right. Does a doctor have to generate their own leads?
No.
So there is no advantage to keeping you fit and healthy.
Yeah.
The leads are coming in either way. People are sick, they'll come to hospital.
That's true. That's very true.
Right?
Yeah.
So he explained this to me and I was like, bloody hell. And he was like, so from the government point of view or organ management point of view, it's like get the most amount of work from the cheapest workforce.
Yeah.
That's it. Period, right? So as someone like me who's a contractor, the game is all about adding value to a system, networking, really infiltrating, getting in. So you do become indispensable. Because they're always looking at, can I hire a foreign doctor? Can I get a pharmacist who can upskill to kind of be like a doctor? Can we do something here? Can we make this a nurse practitioner? Like all these roles are important. I'm not belittling any of these other roles. PAs obviously about Indy.
PAs are not personal assistants. They're physician associates.
They're physician
Make
associates.
that very clear to people.
It's a new role in the UK. It's a new role. My medical company specialises in running courses for them. So if you're a PA listening to this, I doubt you are, but if you are, reach out to us with the Medics team.
Tell people what PAs are.
PAs are physician associates, which is a role which is originally following the Vietnam War in America. That's where it developed. So from the 60s in America, very well established here. And probably in the UK, probably about 10 years. Essentially, it's somebody who's done a life science degree, so undergraduate degree, say in biomedical science. And then they do a 2-year postgraduate degree to become a physician associate. So they work in a capacity which is similar to a doctor, but sort of minus a few things like prescribing rights at the moment, which are coming, and ordering certain tests, such as CT scans and X-rays. They don't work night shifts at the moment, but the role is evolving. It's a good role. What they have is they have a lot more consistency, whereas doctors, we rotate a lot more into certain specialties and we subspecialize. A lot of these guys essentially will stick with one specialty and then they get developed. So they can learn a skill, like a super niche skill, which is good for that department and good obviously for patients, continuity of care. So they're trying to blend the mix of doctors and PAs, physician associates.
There we go.
There we go.
Alright, next bit. So hear about the YouTubers who prank Piers Corbyn. So last week's episode, if everyone listened, we spoke about Piers Corbyn, who is Jeremy Corbyn's brother, not the love child of Jeremy Corbyn and Piers Morgan. There you go. So he got pranked really badly. I don't know if you've seen this video,
I haven't
So
seen it, but he just to remind myself, this is the guy who's
he's
protesting
a massive
against.
anti-vaxxer. He
Right,
appeared
that's
at
it,
the
yeah.
anti-protests, sorry, anti-vax
That's it.
protests. He's a
Right.
big, what's the word? He's a big proponent. Is that the word?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's a big proponent towards vaccines. So there's a YouTube channel set up by two lads called Josh Peters and Archie Manners. What they do is they're pranksters. Some of their stuff in the past is top notch. So in the past, these are the same guys who went around asking royal experts to give their view or their take on the Harry and Meghan situation and the interview. And they said, we're going to get you to come on and give us your thoughts before the interview comes out. And then we're going to release it afterwards as a post-interview analysis. Are you happy to do it? And all of them said yes. And all of them agreed to do it. And they were giving them the most generic shit ever. And they were asking them questions. They set up like a fake production company, everything. And they got these royal experts to basically all be exposed as the frauds they all are.
So he interviewed, world leaders.
No, he interviewed royal experts, so people that are like experts in the royal family and the dynamics and all that shit.
Yeah.
And they did it for all those people who were meant to be experts about the Harry and Meghan interview, even though it hadn't aired. They got them to come on before it had aired, not knowing what the fuck was said, give their feedback. So the second it finishes, they can release their feedback saying this is the public's opinion and put that out. and they offered the money for it and they said, yeah, we'll do it. We don't care. Yeah, that's fine. So they're just basically guys that go out there and prank people and show people for the frauds they are. And they did it.
So the thing is to expose.
Yeah, it's to expose. It isn't to just prank and leave. It's sort of to like, here's the exposure. What you do with this information is now up to you. That's it.
Gotcha. I'll leave it right there.
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
So there we go. So this week gone, there's a YouTube video about it. It's fucking fantastic. Go and watch it, guys, afterwards. But this week gone, they approached Piers Corbyn at a lunch pretending to be shareholders in AstraZeneca. They offered him £10,000. Yeah. They offered him £10,000 to not slander AstraZeneca, but to slander Pfizer and Moderna instead.
Right. Okay.
Right. And the way they did it, they had to be really careful. So they had this like envelope of real cash. It was all their money, right, in an envelope. They showed it to him and they put it under a table. And with some sleight of hand, they managed to swap it all around, give him a fake envelope full of Monopoly money. And he accepted it and walked off. Now, for these guys to be able to do it, they had to be shareholders, in quotations, of AstraZeneca. They bought one share of AstraZeneca in the morning to say that they're shareholders.
Gotcha.
That's it. And they did it. He accepted the money.
So on the video that we're talking about, do you capture any of the dialogue between them?
Yeah, so you capture the dialogue. You see him say like, oh, you're from AstraZeneca, etc. He'll say, don't worry. I'll say that the donation or the money came from a restaurant owner instead. Like, he's fully agreeing to it. And I'm like, but hang on, you don't like vaccines.
You're anti-vaxxer. Yeah, so you're an anti-vaxxer, but you're happy to take money and then promote.
Yeah, you're happy to take money and promote, right? So a bit wild, that. And they just exposed him, basically. It's all done. And
which makes you think then that, him being an anti-vaxxer, is he being funded by
potentially
else, right? Somebody saying to him, say this again for money.
There is a part in the video where they actually make him write down the benefits of the AstraZeneca vaccine. So I'm thinking, yo, this is great. They really caught him out completely. And to be honest, I think the main takeaway is it shows that people will do anything for money.
For money.
And it's better to maybe show people for the frauds they are and let the public have their own choices on it than sort of forcing their agenda on other people. Yeah, it's better to let somebody stumble over their own words and actions and then just let people figure it out.
Yeah, because people don't like to be told, isn't it? But if they come to their own conclusion based on facts, right?
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good.
I thought that was great.
That's hilarious. So we need more people like this, don't we?
We need more people like those guys.
There is a surge, man. Like, Jordan Belfort?
Yes.
Okay.
The guy from the Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street, the real Wolf of Wall Street. He has a podcast called, I think, In the Wolf's Den, or The Den of the Wolf, something like that. And he had an episode where he invited and interviewed Grant Cardone. Do you know who Grant Cardone is?
No.
All right, so Grant Cardone is a dude in America. His most famous book was The 10X Rule.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
That guy, right?
Everything 10X, yeah.
That's it, yeah. 10X baby. And he, like, when he comes to conferences, he gets everyone to do this in the crowd. 10X, whatever. So One of those hype guys. He's
Like some
mainly-
guy from D-Generation X in the WWE. That's where he got it from, I guarantee it. Definitely.
that. And so he's into like property, and he's like he teaches like some business mastery and sales and all this kind of stuff. And there has been we've talked about this before, we talked about this a big surge on the internet of these kind of fake gurus.
Yeah.
And basically you should watch it. Jordan Belfort is a proper salesman.
Yeah.
Like he knows sales. Okay, fine, he went to jail and stuff, but he knows how to sell stuff, right? And so he's trying to have an intelligent discussion about sales with Grant Cardone. And clearly Grant Cardone has no idea what this guy's on about. But he's not trying to like catch him out. He's just asking like normal questions. And he doesn't know the difference. Basically, he's trying to say to Grant that, are you a better marketer or are you a better salesman? And he didn't understand the difference. And so Jordan Belfort had another podcast with another like couple of young guys, and they asked him like, what were your reflections post podcast with Grant? And he goes, clearly what that has shown me is that the world is a dangerous place because people now are just great marketers, right?
Yeah.
And they can sell you shit, but they're not an authority.
There's nothing behind it.
There's nothing behind it. He goes,
I've worked at places in the past that have done that easily. It's proper toxic work environments. I'm not on about banking, like other agencies. And they've sold people shit, and I've worked in the project afterwards, and it's just like, let's throw it together as we go along. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
We didn't have a template. It's like, no, there is no template. And I'm thinking, this is absurd. How can you just get away with this shit?
Yeah, because it's not regulated, is it? That industry,
it's not regulated.
What we call the advice sharing industry, right? It's not
masterminds, all that shit.
Oh man, there are levels to all this stuff, right? What people pay. It's not to say there's no value, right? But I think the perceived value is a lot higher than the actual value. I think that's the problem. And what Jordan Belfort was basically saying is, on this recent podcast, that there are now active lawsuits against Grant Cardone.
There we go. That's what it is, mate.
And there are a couple of dedicated YouTube channels of people who basically, what they're actually doing now is they're actually paying for these people's courses. So they can get on the inside, and then they come out and make a YouTube video exposing all of this shit.
Good. That's necessary. You got to do that shit, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm just waiting for the time that somebody tries to infiltrate one of my courses and then realizes how good it is, right? And they're like, he's the real deal, man.
When that happens, I'm dropping you from the podcast for a month until it blows over, yeah? And then...
only a month, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, only a month. All right, yeah. I'll let you back in after that. Right. Next one. Ethnic sounding names being rejected for nursery places in Scotland.
Oh, that's a...
Yeah, bro. Steep one. Very, very steep one.
See, before you go into that, like my general spiel when I talk to people about Scotland, right, is...
acceptance. It's quite nice.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, you go up north, these people aren't scared of people with beards, like, that's really welcoming. Anywhere, like, up north, Wales... Ireland, all these other places.
See, I don't know exactly where in Scotland this happens, so that might be my downfall of the story. But normally, when you think of major cities, you don't think of that being an issue. So when you go to LA, it's very accepting. When you go to New York, again, accepting. When you go to London, accepting. But then there's always going to be pockets of spaces in those areas that are going to have issues. Right. And I think this is one that sort of highlights it quite clearly. So backstory is... guy's name is Hamza Yusuf. He's a member of the Scottish Parliament. So he's an MSNP, so member of Scottish Parliament. He is the Cabinet Health Secretary. He and his wife tried to put their daughter into nursery and had to apply directly.
So he's somebody of influence.
Yeah.
Cabinet Health Secretary. Okay.
Yeah. And they tried to put their daughter into nursery. They applied. They were rejected straight away. Now, his wife had a bit of a hunch, and she thought, that doesn't sound right. What if it could be racism? And he thought, no, it can't be. It might be because he's a person of interest or influence. They're not happy to take their daughter on, which I understand. So she then said, let me try something. What she did was she then managed to get a friend of theirs to submit their daughter or their friend. And she submitted another person who was a fake name, who sounded ethnic. The white person's name was accepted. The ethnic was rejected. This was less than 24 hours after the initial application was sent. Right, so then she said, okay, maybe that's a coincidence, let me try something else. So she asked her sister to do it, who had a Muslim surname. The surname was Ahmed. The lady's name in question is Nadia. She's what's his name, she's Hamza's wife. and she asked her sister to send an application, one for her actual child and one for a fake Scottish name. The fake Scottish name was offered 4 afternoon slots. The ethnic name wasn't. Right. So Hamza said, all right, there's clearly a correlation here. He passed it on to a journalist. The journalist did the same test, same result.
Wow, okay.
So they did it 4 times.
Expose.
Right? 4 times. And the journalist did a massive expose about it today. This is today. So today is 2nd of August, Monday the 2nd of August when we're recording this. Right. So, yeah, that happened. And I just thought, wow, that is some dark shit.
2021. Come on, why is this shit happening, man? Casual racism.
The thing is, right, is that you're rejecting a kid. The kid's 2 years old. They don't have anything in them that's inherently bad. So why are you rejecting the kid? The kid's done literally nothing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no qualifications to discriminate against. Like, what's the thing? What's the number one thing you're thinking in your head? Can they wipe their ass? No, they're 2 years old. Okay, fine. We'll change their nappy. That's literally it. That's as far as it goes. It's incredible how people will discriminate against a kid because of their old, strong-held values or thoughts about people of that ethnicity. It's crazy.
Yeah, and if you're in that nursery, right, and there's a child, and a white child in that nursery, then surely they need to learn and be surrounded, be exposed to people of different cultures, different beliefs, different practices, so they can grow up and have a balanced opinion. Because you're doing them a disservice as well, man, by just keeping them in this kind of white-only environment.
Yeah, exactly. You have to mix it a little bit, especially for white kids as well, because they're only going to be exposed to white faces. So you have to mix people up from an early age so they understand who they're working with and what they're surrounded by.
Yeah, and then you don't, it's a bit cliche, but you don't see colour, do you? Like, when I'm in a hospital and somebody realises that the patient realises that I speak English the same way they speak English.
Yeah.
It's all cool, man. Then it's like, it's not even doctors, like jazz, da 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 da. Do you know what I mean? Could be black person, could be Muslim person, could be white person. It doesn't matter because you've got that connection, and that's the level we need to be at, and that can only happen if you're comfortable around people.
Yeah.
All people. Yeah.
So imagine that all this is happening to a child at a nursery. This must be happening at job levels with qualifications. Not even questionable now. Like if that's happening based on the most minimal information given about someone, then you're going to find the most minimal thing to pick on in someone's CV to reject them from a job, and claim it's because of a qualification downfall compared to
the real reason.
Yeah, the real reason.
Yeah. Hiding behind reasons. Yeah, this is a big thing, isn't it? People having what sounds like reputable excuses or reasons.
Yeah,
something.
Like you haven't got enough experience. Someone else was a better fit. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
They're better for the culture of the company. I'm like, what do those phrases mean? Like,
what does it actually mean?
The best way to say it is, I don't like the answer you gave in the interview. Just be honest with them. Say, I don't like the answer you gave in the interview. Somebody else said this in the interview compared to your question. This is what it is. Done. If you give people detailed feedback like that, then when they think it's about their skin colour, they'll say, yo, it's because I didn't interview well. That's cool. You can work on that. That's probably a better way
Yeah, because that's the worst thing, man. Like, if you get rejected for something or you don't pass something, so we have plenty of students that come to us and they haven't passed their exams, and it's like, but did you get any feedback?
Yeah.
So they didn't give feedback. So, well, how is this person expected to improve if you're not telling them the areas they need to improve on?
Yeah. That's a big gripe I have with recruiters. They don't ever give you feedback. They just sort of just send a rejection, and I'm like, what did I do wrong? And they're like, there's too many applicants to send feedback to. And I'm like, so we're just numbers to you, right? Okay.
Yeah, but that's just demoralising, man.
It is.
Because the problem is you fill the gap down. You fill the gap with the shit that you think you're inadequate with, and then those become limiting beliefs and assumptions. They're not true.
Yeah.
But you believe them to be true, and then that becomes like a vicious circle, and then it affects your next job you apply to.
And then it also affects you on a personal level where you're like, maybe I have to go back to university and learn like another degree, which in itself is bollocks. You don't need to do that.
The feeling of inadequacy.
You need to just work on a few more skills that make you better at your job, or maybe you need to present yourself better. That's pretty much it. Because 9 times out of 10, if you get into a company and you want to stay there, you can put on an act to stay there. It's not difficult. All you got to do is pass probation within 3 months. Then after that, you can show your real colours, and then they're stuck with you. Like, it's not hard. So there's ways around it.
Absolutely.
So ways to combat it then, Karan. How would you combat that situation?
From whose perspective?
From a parent's perspective. So if you're a parent,
that parenting question,
how would you want that to be fixed going forward to stop that level of discrimination happening? I've got a couple ideas, but I want to hear yours.
For your child, or are you talking about the whole problem?
The whole problem. So how can you stop this from being? How can you stop this from happening at other nurseries without knowing about it?
It's like a question we had the other time when we talked about football. It's the same question we're asking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's how do you stop racism?
But when it comes to kids, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously what's happened in this scenario is good because the power of the journalist is he provides objectivity, so it's not coming from somebody else, and it's reach, isn't it? You've got to expose the problem, just like we said with the YouTubers, put it out there, educate enough people, so more people realize this is a problem, not acceptable, so that they collectively, i.e. say, well, to the nursery, this not on, for forced management issue. Because if a single parent goes there, they can probably part it off. Maybe they don't, do you know what I mean? But it's like me going to a big company and trying to, rustle feathers. Like, there's one man in there, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
We don't care about your complaint, whatever. But if there's a protest, right, if it's on a big scale, now this will get a lot of exposure because this guy's a cabinet health secretary.
In Scotland it would. I don't think it'll make it to England, but in Scotland.
Yeah, but there, right, cabinet health secretary, somebody who's doing so much for the people, and this is how he's treated, right?
He's been treated.
It should be the same for everybody, irrespective of who you are. But I think that will provide a lot of reach. So I think that point is about education and awareness, and you've got to be having these conversations. And what I liked is they didn't roll over in this situation. So if you're a parent here, you've got to ask the questions. But it's asking questions in the right way.
Why is my kid inadequate? Like, you got to ask that.
Well, I mean, the first question would be simple as, why didn't they get in? You're not going to assume it's racism. You're not going to assume it's inadequacy. You're going to ask that question.
Of course not.
But you've got to follow that trail until you get a meaningful answer. You have a real discussion with a real person who's in a position to give you that. Not someone who's firing off right at the bottom, right? So, like with me, like if I'm trying to get something done, whatever avenue of life is, ultimately, if I'm on the phone with someone, it's like, listen, are you a decision maker or are you not a decision maker? Can you influence or impact policy? Can you actually do something? Or if you can't, please put me through to that person that can. In the same way, when a patient talks to me, they want to, are you going to be able to send me home? Do you know the significance of this blood test or scan? Yeah. Are you going to be the one giving me the treatment? That's what they want, man. I understand that, but obviously junior doctors and things need to learn, so that's why that system exists. But ask meaningful questions, get a meaningful response. If that doesn't do the thing, then yes, you have to raise awareness in other ways, and this is good in this scenario.
Yeah, so I guess the idea that I had is you can do blind CVs. This was suggested to me by my brother. Doing blind CVs is probably the best way to go about it. That way you combat it at both levels. You combat it at job levels and at nursery levels.
What's a blind CV?
Where you don't list someone's name or ethnicity, you just look at their qualifications or their character type, I guess.
Oh, I see. That's very interesting. So yeah, you take away the...
You take away the name, you anonymise the name, you anonymise their nationality, you just give age and that's it. Done.
Yeah, age and...
Maybe not even age, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so just this is what I've done, this is my experience, this is my skill set.
Done, that's it. That's the best way of going about it. Now,
it's kind
when
of
it
like,
comes to a kid...
in a voice.
Yeah, the voice, yeah, exactly. Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, come on.
So, trying to do that with a kid, I don't know how reasonable that would be. But maybe you want to do like a lottery system.
Right.
So where if you have like a bunch of applications for kids, you'll do like a lottery little thing where you pick out kids' names or something and then it's done. But you've got to give that to like an impartial third party that will do that on your behalf. That won't show any sort of discrimination.
Bias.
A child, yeah, where there's no bias. Maybe that will anonymise it a little bit.
You mean if they're limited numbers and you have to pick from?
Yeah, if there's limited numbers. If there's not limited numbers and they're just rejecting people, then I don't know how to fix that at all. That's where I was a bit stumped. So, in a nutshell, I'm a bit numb to it, to be honest. Racism on that level. It's a new low to be racist towards a child that's 2 years old and can barely speak. But yeah, incredible. And like you said,
intolerant world, man.
And like you said, you didn't expect that in Scotland, but pockets of people you
No,
can find anywhere,
no,
right?
no, exactly.
Next topic, last topic, then we'll move on to your section. So,
My section, is it?
Corona vaccine incentives. Yeah, your section, because you got to tell me something, right? So, Corona vaccine incentives. These are fucking wild. Have you heard of them? Have you read about any of them?
Are these companies giving incentives?
Yeah, it's companies trying to incentivize people to get their second shot or first shot.
As
Basically,
in,
young adults on it.
were incentives from like people who work for the company, or people who are going to visit the company? I.e.,
No,
somebody going to a
people that
club?
need to have people that aren't taking a vaccine. Companies are like, how can we help to make you take a vaccine?
But like let's say Goldman Sachs. Do you mean like Goldman Sachs doing it, or do you mean like a club saying you want to come to the club, get the vaccine? Like which way?
Yeah. The second one, exactly.
To use my service.
Well, not even to use my service, but how can we get you to the point of taking a vaccine? So I'll give you a couple of examples. So in London, there's a place called Pizza Pilgrims.
Yep.
What they do is
good pizza.
Yeah, they give you a free slice of pizza to go with your vaccine. So they're saying you take the vaccine to get a free slice of pizza, which is fucking genius, because if your pizza's good enough, people will come back and they'll either eat something straight away because they're going to be hungry, or they'll come back later. They're like, oh, that's the place I got my vaccine from. Like, you have an affiliation with it. So that's really smart.
Are they giving the vaccine at Pizza Pilgrims?
So I think there's a pop-up store in place. So you arrive on site, you get jabbed, you eat a slice after.
Wow,
it's a sweet deal.
From marketing point of view, it's genius.
Yeah, I wish I didn't get vaccinated. Mate, I wish I didn't get vaccinated. Now I'll go for a pizza slice. Why not? And to be honest,
that's different for you.
Had a vaccine,
you were gonna get the vaccine anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess the danger here is somebody who's doing it for the wrong reasons.
Imagine if you were holding out.
You should want to get the vaccine if you want to get the vaccine.
Imagine if you were holding out like, yo, let me just ride this out. See if I can get perks to go with my vaccine. Yeah, let's go.
Pizza.
let me get that slice of pizza, man.
My God.
Oh, which is so crazy. I'm sure there's gonna be some crazy people out there like that. It's like abandoning your cart on a website. Have you ever done that, where you put in your login details, you signed up, you're about to purchase, you leave the website, and you wait for like an abandoned cart email? And then you get like a percentage off. Yeah, and they're like 10% now if you buy off. Like, yep, I'll buy it now. Right?
Yeah. Waiting for the incentive.
Yeah, people do that. I'm sure someone must have thought like this.
Marketing.
So Pizza Pilgrims, they did that. Bolt, which is the alternative to Uber, they're giving people a free ride to their vaccination centre. So therefore, it takes away the barrier to entry of people having issues of travelling to their vaccination place.
I'm trying to work out, because it sounds like the bottles, the company are clearly, they're going to be making they're going to be getting a kickback from who?
This is what I thought. I thought, how are they making money? Maybe it's a good.
No, they're making money in the back end. No, they're making money, but is it the government paying them? So is the government's incentive here ultimately, or is it coming from the vaccination companies?
Maybe, but then I was thinking, I don't want the driver to be left shortchanged. So normally drivers get a fee off every single ride. Yeah. If it's a free ride, are they still getting paid?
They're getting paid.
Cool.
They're getting paid.
That's the thing that I wanted to check.
Everybody making money, man. Everybody making money. Pizza Pilgrims, they're not getting free pizza. They're making money. They're making money because you have your free slice, then you buy full size pizza, and they're making money on the other side because the company's paying them as well.
Yeah.
Everybody making money. Never think that.
Sorted. That was my only concern with it. But I can imagine people abusing that. So imagine if you're like, oh,
10 vaccines, 10 slices of pizza.
No. I'm thinking, imagine if you said, oh, I'm going to go get my vaccine. I want my local hospital. It's in central London, not on Oxford Circus. Just drop me off there. I'll pretend like I walk in. You don't. You walk off. You got a free ride to Central. So I'm sure people can abuse that system. It'll be interesting to see how they are able to deploy that.
How creative they are. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. If I can think of all these things, I bet you people are thinking about it, man. Honestly.
Yeah. Although one thing I did learn on the weekend with you is that you think about things like no other man thinks.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Indy has his PT, who's also my PT, film him and then explain to the PT about the things that the PT can't see.
Yeah.
You, my friend, Look at you. You're Spider-Man. You're definitely Spider-Man.
I'm
come
that
to
guy.
conclusion,
I'm like,
you're,
yo, hang on.
you're actually
I'm like,
Spider-Man.
hang on. I'm in pain here. I'm not feeling something right. Something hurts. I was like, just film it for me one time, and then I'll do the slow-mo high scrub. And I'm like, can you see that? He's like, what? I said that, and I'm like pointing at him like that. And he said,
You
that.
know the thing
I'm
that no one else can see.
That's bad form. The weight's too heavy, or this isn't the right exercise for me, or I got a muscle imbalance of some sort. I'm like, that's what's happening. That's what's causing me pain.
I love that last term, muscle imbalance. That doesn't mean anything. Muscle imbalance.
Yes, it is. Muscle imbalances are real, bro. Let's not. Hang on.
Listen.
Real.
Listen. We'll talk about the condition today, and you may find some similarity in the things I'm going to talk
Muscle
about.
imbalance. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Muscle
All
imbalance. Guys, if
So-
you've got a muscle imbalance, come to Indy. He'll use his
Comes to
massage
muscle
gun on you.
imbalance. I'll put you in
Massage
touch
gun.
with a very good doctor named Dr. J.S. Mavi. He
And
can
I
diagnose you.
will refer you to Pura Singh.
There you go. Get that
Okay.
kickback.
There you
MSK,
go.
yeah. MSK,
Okay.
musculoskeletal case, yeah. There you go.
That's what you have.
Told you. So that's in England. There's been loads abroad. These are the best
Incentives.
ones. Yeah, these are the best ones abroad. Joe Biden asked states to offer $100 for every vaccine taken by young kids.
$100.
$100.
Money, man. Give him money.
That's lit, man. I'm like, yo, give me the $100, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're a dad of like a family of like 6, and they're all like,
Cheers,
I'm
Obon.
like, yo, that's ching ching, man. Let's go. That's money for a month, right?
Yeah. Cheers up on.
Oh God. Then Washington State, they've offered a new scheme called Jabs for Joints, as weed is legal out there. What they're doing is they're offering a free pre-roll joint of weed for your first and second jab, which is smart because you're going to be in pain after the first jab, and your arms going to be in pain.
You get mellow.
Just smoke that and you're mellow. That's it, done. Very good marketing again. I'm sure there'll be a high uptake for that. Definitely that. In Moscow, they've offered people a 5-car lottery draw for those that have been vaccinated each week. So I was like, okay. But imagine if, I think the money, the amount of each car is like $13,700, which is not great. But I'm sure people are like, well,
Free
if it's been
common.
given to me by the government, it must be chipped. They're going to be tracking me. And I'm like, all right, if you think like that, just get the car and sell it through like an online
Make some
retailer.
money.
Done. And make some money out of it. Now you bag yourself $13K. What's the beef?
What's the being being creative?
And it's a free entry to a lottery. Why wouldn't you do it? Point proven. However, the dark side of this is, in Moscow, they've also said, if you don't get vaccinated, you'll essentially be excluded from working, and you'll be discriminated against if you don't get the vaccine.
In fact, you just put it out there. You will be discriminated.
Yeah,
against.
you will be discriminated against.
You will
and
be
you won't be allowed to
discriminated.
work in. You're not going to be eligible to work in certain workplaces.
Sounds
So that's
a
communism at its
fascist
finest,
state.
there, mate.
Well,
Yeah.
it sounds like fascist now. I mean, really, yeah.
Yeah. I did have 2 more good examples. In the Philippines, they're doing a cow raffle, or raffles of rice, which is quite cool.
You get a cow.
Yeah, you get a cow, you get bags of rice. For
Okay,
your
livelihood. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine.
See, smart. And the other one, which I just found earlier, is in Vegas. They're doing
Vegas.
jabs. They're doing jabs for lap dancers.
Oh my god.
Now, I don't know if this is real or not, right? So I'm sorry if it's not true. But I think you go to a strip joint and you get vaccinated, and then apparently you get a lap dance after. That's the headline I read. I don't know if it's true.
When is
But
your
I
stay?
really hope that is true, because that's the most Vegas shit ever.
When's your stay?
I'm vaccinated, mate. Double vax. Relax.
You know what, man? I can alter the record. I'm like, this is a special groom
Oh,
stag,
God.
right? He's had no vaccines. We've just given him 4 or 8. He needs a special. Right, give him the special.
Give me
lap
that
dance,
Johnson & Johnson vaccine that doesn't work. Give me that
Janssen. Janssen. Oh,
one. The
the
one that
Janssen.
doesn't work.
The Janssen.
But yeah, those are the incentives, man. I thought they were great. Some of them were really funny and were quite smart. It's crazy that you have to do a thing like this though in order to get people to flip and take a vaccine, though, isn't it? Makes you think.
You're still gonna have the hardcores that, despite this, won't do it. But
Yeah.
I think the uptake will be good with some of that stuff.
But every week I am seeing a news story of someone saying like, I was a conspiracy theorist, but then I caught COVID and I got really ill and now I'm not. And I'm like,
Yeah.
sometimes it takes, I mean, as bad as it is, it's like a kid being told, don't touch that, it's hot, don't touch that, it's hot. And then they just don't listen, and then they get burnt. And then they're like, well, you had to learn the hard way. Now you know you won't do it again. I mean, it's really shit to compare it to that, but sometimes people just have to learn the hard way.
There are some things in life where you do have to learn that way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But this should be one of them.
This should not be one of them. Yeah. This isn't just. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to your section. So we got the doctor syndrome. What's the segment called? I've forgotten the name of it.
The doctor syndrome. It's not that.
The doctor syndrome. I've forgotten the name of this segment. Anyway.
Doctor Chronicle, mate. The Doctor Chronicle.
This isn't no. The Doctor Chronicle is just like a story of you at work. This is like the diagnosis of a random disorder.
Yeah.
That's too long to fit, but we'll use that as a filler. Go ahead.
So the condition this week is the FAS.
The what?
Sounds like the FAS.
FAS.
FAS. Sounds like it could be like a secret agency.
It does sound like a secret agency, definitely.
Yeah, like KGB or the FSB or the FSB, as they call it in Russia. MI5, CSA, NIA. NIA? Not NIA.
NIA? National Indoor Arena, Birmingham. Yeah.
NSA. That's the one. It stands for Foreign Accent Syndrome. Ooh. Now, as you know, guys, Indy actually finds these conditions and then I go and research them, right? This is not stuff that I've ever seen, and I'm very unlikely to see by the very
So can I tell you why I chose this one?
Oh, go on. Yeah, what's the backstory?
So there's a comedian I follow, Tom Segura. He's one of my favourite comedians. He did a bit on this. And he said there's actually a issue that people have where this is what it is, foreign accent syndrome. He does a bit on it. If you want to watch it on YouTube, please do. He's really good at it. And I just thought, I want to see Karan just tell me why this happens. So go ahead.
It's interesting. So when I was doing my research, a couple of comedians came up as well, which is funny actually. It's good to watch their take on it first before getting all medical on it. But not as rare as our other condition, the KL syndrome, the Klein.
Oh, is it more common?
Syndrome. It's more common than that. Essentially a condition where somebody develops an accent, but it sounds like to somebody who doesn't know that they're obviously putting on the accent. So like not anybody, most people have the ability to talk in a different accent. I could speak like this and people would think that I am speaking le français, le French.
Oh my days.
Right? Or it could be like, grazie, bene, grazie, prego. I could be a bit more Italian, or I could do the accent like this. So we have the ability to put on accents. But the key there is what I'm doing now is very voluntary.
Yeah.
Right? So this is an involuntary condition where, and I was reading a few case studies. For different people, it's happening in different ways. But there've been some sort of preceding illness. We'll go into the causes in a second, the things that have been identified. And then they, either for days, weeks, months, or permanently, have another accent. So there's a lady on Good Morning Britain, and she was from Staffordshire, from Dudley. So Dudley, an accent like that her whole life, never been anywhere else, and now has an Italian accent. And she talks about the day where she walked around. But although it sounds very Italian, people are saying, "Are you from Poland? Are you from Russia? When did you come here? Are you on holiday?" Yeah, man.
So that's my name's Janice. I live in Dudley.
Yeah. And then there was this Australian lady who had a Chinese accent.
That's the one who had the bit with Tom Segura. Yeah.
The
Chinese accent bit is mad.
Yeah, and it sounds quite authentic. The thing with this condition is, although the accent sounds like, it's not like they get some superpower where they can actually speak the language. So they don't.
No.
That doesn't happen, right? That's important to know. Causes are really kind of mainly 2 or 3-fold. So you can have it from a young age, which is to do with kind of developmental issues, but it's not really common. It's not the one I found. But the other 2 main ones are neurological causes and psychiatric causes. So psychiatric causes can be things that cause what we call a conversion syndrome. A conversion syndrome is where you have a psychiatric mental problem or block or stress or stressor, which then manifests as a physical problems.
Oh God.
It's like IBS.
Oh, fuck off.
Just have to get that in there. But we do know that there are some conditions where, and we tend to group these orders what we call functional disorders. So, people can come in and they can have weakness in their arm or leg, which mimics a stroke, right? But we will do all the scans, do all the tests, exclude all the kind of what we call the pathologies, appreciable disease. And then obviously you're doing a lot of testing involving psychologists and things. And sometimes we then end up saying, well, actually, this condition is functional. There is something that's happened to you that's triggered this for you to have some sort of stress, which is now manifesting as a physical symptom, but it has no pathology that we can find and treat.
Yeah.
No, it could be something that's like a undiscovered disease. That's obviously always a possibility. But when you see a lot of case studies that come out, and we see that some things are inconsistent. So, somebody saying they can't move their hand, but then they can move their hand when you're not looking. Then you're like, oh, okay, maybe this is that function. Like I had this guy, young guy, like in his 20s, and he was on my ward. As in, patients change every day, so I hadn't seen this guy before. And basically he said, I can't move my legs, like completely, I can't move my legs. And then, but we were pretty convinced it wasn't real. And then we did some digging and we found he'd gone to like 8 different hospitals and he always claimed the same thing. And we got all his like scans and letters and we were like, oh, okay. So you can walk, but you're saying you can't walk.
Why is that?
So that's what he does. He just went from hospital to hospital. It's called malingering. You just, you have, some people have fictitious disease or disorders. Like pseudo seizures, there are a lot of people we see who have fake seizures. So they'll start like shaking to mimic a seizure, but they're not having a real seizure.
But when you have a seizure, doesn't your like heart rate like shoot up or something?
Yeah, you can mimic those things. There's lots of things you can mimic. It's not
you
like
can
I'm
mimic your heart shooting up.
Yeah, like you start shaking, man. Like you physically make yourself shake, your heart rate will go up.
Wow.
But I mean, I'm making it sound really simple, but there are times, man, where obviously you don't assume that somebody's faking. You still treat it as if they're not faking. But you'll do tests and things, and maybe then you'll do other tests to see if this is a real seizure or not a real seizure.
I want to learn how they learnt the accent.
They didn't. Well, they don't. We don't know. Yeah, and it's not.
But
like
they must know the accent to mimic it.
Yeah, exactly. They must have heard it somewhere. And so anyway, that's the psychiatric causes, whatever. So some sort of stressor. Then the neurological causes are things like strokes, brain tumor, multiple sclerosis, injury to the brain. So there's a part of your brain, the Broca's area, and the Broca's area is responsible for speech. So me speaking now is my Broca's area sending signals to what we call the motor cortex. The motor cortex sends nervous signals to my lips and my vocal cords and says make some sound.
Yeah.
But if your Broca's area is affected, so that can happen in a stroke. So remember, a stroke is when part of your brain dies. Yeah. Obviously, different parts of your brain have different functions. So depending on what area has been impacted, that's where you get loss of function. So it could be memory, it could be muscle power, it could be speech, it could be vision, it could be lots of different things. So the Broca's area, if you lose the function of that, you can become what we call dysphasic or aphasic. You lose the ability to speak. Or for example, you know what you want to say, but you have the inability to say it. So sometimes when we're testing this in people, what we'll do is you'll be like, okay, what is this? What is this? And they'll be like, it's you use it to write with, Bic as an example.
They're treating it like it's a game of taboo.
yeah, exactly. Right, but they can't say the word. So they have an aphasia, they're unable to, they can't formulate that word. There's another part of your brain called the Wernicke's area. The Wernicke's area is to do with comprehension. So there's some people that will speak, right, but you listen to what they're saying and it's just gibberish. It's not formulated sentences. And then you ask them, so you'll say, put your right index finger on your nose and then touch your ear. You give them a 2-step command and they just don't understand because the comprehension's impacted. So you have one area that makes the speech and you have another area which is responsible for comprehension, and then you have the nerves that connect the two, and that can also be damaged as well. So what they think is in these people that get foreign accent syndrome, areas of the brain, not just the Broca's area, but could also be the motor part which controls your vocal cords, and obviously that's how so when I do an accent, obviously I'm changing the way my speech is coming out.
Yeah.
There's that, and then there's your cerebellum, which is another part of your brain which regulates all these things. So it's multiple things. So something that affects the brain physically, some sort of damage or compression or disease, or a psychiatric disorder. But it's not like, again, with all the rare things you're talking about, it's a diagnosis of exclusion. Now, when somebody has a stroke, the most common thing to get is slurring of speech.
Yeah.
Right? So the whole advert we talk about fast and your mouth droops and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Slurred speech, but this isn't that. This is saying that they actually speak fluently, but it's in a different accent.
Mad.
Very odd. Treatment is treat the underlying disorder.
What, through like CBT or something?
Yeah, well, as in if it's a stroke, treat the stroke. It may improve. If it's a brain tumour, remove the tumour.
No, but
If
with
it's
the treatment,
psychiatric
with the syndrome.
Yeah. But as in, if you treat the underlying cause, then the syndrome should go away, is the thinking. But if it's psychiatric, that might not be as obvious. So then, yeah, things like CBT, working with psychiatrists, psychologists, may be beneficial. But there are some people, the people I was looking at on YouTube, who have lived with it for just it's permanent now, constant. It's just who they are now. Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh, but I can't help it.
Yeah. 'Cause obviously
Jesus, man.
it doesn't see. It seems like they're putting it on, but obviously they're not putting it on.
What would be quality is if you could give that syndrome to racists, and it would be the race of the person they don't like, and they start talking like them from their
As a
native
punishment.
land
Oh
as
my
a
God.
punishment. That would be sick.
Right,
That's an
right.
episode of Black Mirror waiting to happen. I can see it.
So you're going to design a virus now,
That's it. Done.
and when the racists get locked up, I'm like, here's your saza, here's your punishment, right?
Here's your punishment.
Okay.
You're gonna talk like the native people,
I'm gonna,
like how
I'm
they
gonna
are.
inject you with this. Yeah.
So you hate Indians, you're gonna talk like Uncle in India, with broken English, the head bubbles and everything.
There you go. That's justice Indy
But
style.
it doesn't give you the excuse to say the M word, right? I gotta make that
Look,
clear.
Look,
It doesn't give you the excuse to say that, right?
I spoke to a lot of people on my side about this thing. It's just you that are very fixated on this thing. So what context and intention. Okay.
Yeah, I
Don't
guess.
make a song that big and be like, oh no, but you can't say it. And just call the song something else. Two Guys in Paris. Just call it that, man.
I'll tell you, two guys in Paris.
Yeah,
mate.
call it Jay and Kanye in Paris.
Two guys in Paris. It doesn't sound the same, does it?
Well, no, but you're saying that because you know what the other thing is. But if you've never heard that,
On the radio, it's just called Paris. That's what they call it. They call it Paris. I was like, cha. Okay.
yeah,
Paris, yeah. Okay.
Two Guys in Paris.
Two guys in
fun.
Paris.
Yeah.
It's like a cross between Two Girls and One Cup and One Night in Paris. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Guys, thanks for listening. Hopefully we will catch you on the next episode next week, or we have a guest. We're not going to say who, but he's a pretty well-known person. That'd be quite cool
Big man
So,
things.
to talk to him. He actually understands the phrase big man things as well, which is very
Yeah.
helpful. So if you like this episode, please let us know. Hit that subscribe button, like the video wherever you're consuming it through. Just show some appreciation and love so we can get some traction on our platforms. That'd be really great, man. So thank you for making it this far. We love you all, and Karan, I will see you next week.
Lovely.
Haters.